We're going to try this again. Good morning, friends. Happy Friday to you. I tried to go live a few minutes ago and Facebook never connected. So if you can see me and hear me, would you guys come in and say hello? Doesn't even look like it's working again. Wait, we've got one. I've got four. Okay, we might be working. Now let's see if we can get comments. Will you say hello as you're here? That way I know I'm not alone. Hi, everyone. Happy Friday to you. My name is Jennifer Allwood. I teach women how to create a beautiful home and how to build a creative business. Annette Carter says I'm good. Thanks, Rebecca. Thanks, Annette. All right, awesome. Hey, I'm excited to talk to you guys today. I've had two different things occur this morning that were very much related to one another. And at different times when I'm like, Lord, what you feel like me talking about on Facebook Live? And he'll leave clues like that. He'll leave little hints on what I feel like I'm supposed to share with those of you that tune in, which I appreciate you so much. And so two things happened this morning, and I want to tell you about them because they're very much connected. And I'm going to tell you that this is a great, I was about to say podcast because I just got off podcast. This is a great Facebook Live to share with anybody that you know in your world who has little kids. All right, I'm going to tell you that right after that. So we sold our house. Okay, first of all, let's just start with the good news. We sold our house. There's lots of good news that goes with that, but I'll just stay right there for a second because I don't want to be an oversharer of good news. Okay, not that I don't want to share too much, but I'm afraid to give too many details, and I'm like, Lord, this is gonna work out, right? so let's just say we sold our house. So I've got to start packing, and for those of you who are creative people, more on the artistic side, low on the organization scale, hoarders of all the things. All right, Katie, because I love you, Katie Clemente. Is it Clemente or just Clement? I'll find out when I get you on the podcast next week. We sold our house yesterday. We had 2 offers yesterday for above asking price. Two! Our house has been on the market for a month, and then we get 2 offers the same day for above asking price. Crazy town. Crazy town. Okay, so listen, here's the predicament. We've got to start packing. We've got to start packing. It's a rather quick transaction, so we've got to start packing. So I go into, here's what I'm thinking. And those of you who understand how a creative mind works, you'll know that sometimes we just need little wins, right? Like we feel pretty chaotic most of the time. Like, we don't leave a lot of margin in our lives. We work best under pressure, last minute. Can I get a yes and an amen? And so, so when you say to a very chaotic, creative, #hot mess woman, you need to be packed up and ready to go in 3 weeks, I'm like, oh, sweet Jesus, help me. Come on, Lord, because you're going to have to download some giftings here I don't have. So literally this morning, I'm like, okay, how many rooms do I have in my house? And if I did 1 room a day, we could be ready to go in time, right? 1 room a day. So this morning, I think to myself, let's start with where I can get the biggest win first. Let's start where I can be like, dang, girl, look at me, packing. I'm all packy and whatnot. And organized, and I'm going to trip all my friends out with all of my organization skills because they all know that I'm not organized. And so I open up the coat closet because it just seems like a normal place to begin. I don't know why. It's small. And I think was just looking to see, okay, how much crap do we literally have in this house after 14 and a half years? And yes, Cammie, we're hiring movers. And yes, I need to get them scheduled now. Thank you, Candace. I'm writing that down. But I really want to purge a lot. I don't want to take a lot of the old into the new. And I think there's something biblical about that. Okay. So I don't want to take a bunch of what was our old season into the new season with us. I had a very wise woman tell me once, and it was Sandy Krakowski, who was on my podcast Wednesday. If you missed that, you missed Sandy with the hot pink fuchsia jammy hair. She's brilliant. And she said, Jennifer, how you end one season directly affects how you begin another. And so she told me, make sure you end your seasons well before you're hopping to the next one. So we're about to end a season of 14 and a half years in this house. And I want to go into our next season really well with not dragging a lot of crap with me emotionally, physically, spiritually. I'm leaving that here. Okay. So I open up the coat closet and I'm like, you know what? I haven't worn half this stuff in years. Let me get rid of some coats. But I stumbled on this one and I'm going to show you. Stacey Haynes, that was your favorite podcast ever? Even better than the one you did with me? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so this, you guys, is my painting coat that I've had for, because I'm a keeper of things, probably all 17 years that I owned the magic brush in Kansas City. See, we've got paint all over it. So I would wear this every winter because I didn't want to ruin every coat. And I would wear this every winter at a job site. So I look at this morning in my closet. I'm like, oh, that's my coat that I wore for, 17 years every winter. But I retired my painting company this summer. And so I thought to myself, that's getting chucked out the door. I don't need to keep a painting coat. But then I remembered. And if you have followed me for any length of time, you guys are going to remember what's in the pockets. Does anybody remember what's in the pockets of my painting coats? I'm going to tell you guys, I'll know how much you really love me if one of you knows what I kept in both pockets of my painting coats. If you know, I'm going to flip out. Katie, pacifiers. That's right. Katie, you're going to make me cry, girl. Boy, you're hearing from the Lord. I'm probably going to weep. I don't know. I'm really emotional. I did a post a little bit ago that I started crying in my OBGYN office yesterday because she was late. And I'm like, come on. All right, come on. You're late. And I started my painting company 17 years ago when we didn't have kids. And we got pregnant really quickly, and my business went really well, really quickly. Like literally, I was kind of like, Lord, this is like accelerating really fast. I mean, most people have the opposite problem, and they have a hard time kind of getting businesses going. We had the opposite problem where we were like, my business was going. Sorry. We quickly got pregnant with Noah, and instantly I felt torn. Because I had a business that went to 6 figures a year in just the first year. And then, and this was 17 years ago. And yet I was pregnant. And I'm like, I want to stay home with my kids. And so Jason and I felt very convicted that we were to have me stay home for as much as I possibly could without putting our kids in childcare. Now, for those of you who make other decisions, grace to you. This was the decision for our house, okay? And so for us, we wanted to make sure that I was home with the kids as much as possible. So we tried to figure out a way, how can I still have the painting business and have babies? And we figured out a way. And that's not what this podcast or this is about. But what I did was I put a pacifier from each of my boys in the pockets of these coats. Like they just landed in there one day. And this one, look, he even chewed the thingy off and I just kept it in my pocket. As a reminder to me that my real job was at home. And to get my work done out in the field and in the houses that I had a crew of women painting in, and to get home to my babies. And so when I went back to work after we had Noah, I went back to work like 3 hours a week after he was like a year old. And then it was eventually 6 hours a week. And then it was 12 hours a week until the kids all started kindergarten. And I just felt convicted. We did Mommy's Day Out 2 days a week, and Mom was home with them the rest of the time, which meant I was working from home, okay? Now here's a total confession that's going to surprise some of you, and it's going to make me cry. Lord have mercy, I'm emotional. I pretended for a long time that I didn't work. People knew I had a painting business, but I played it off as a little thing. And the reason I played it off as a little thing is because I felt very much judged by people that I shouldn't be working, that I should just be staying home and taking care of my babies, and that I should not be doing anything else. Okay? And so, and it wasn't any of like my close friends, and it may not even have been real, you guys. It may have been just me being insecure about my position. Does that make sense? Because here I am on one hand, and I've got 1 baby, 2 baby, 3 babies really quickly. And on the other hand, this great business that I really don't want to give up. I feel guilty about that. I don't want to give it up. It's very lucrative and I don't have to do much for it. And yet I have these kids and I feel like I should be staying home and giving them my every second and literally sitting next to them as they're watching Dora the Explorer. That's what Ava used to call it, Dora the Explorer. And so for a long time, I kind of pretended that I didn't work because I didn't want to be shamed by other moms who felt like I should just be staying home. Like I shouldn't be working at all, okay? Then also, there was a spectrum of women who worked full time that I felt very judged from as well. I'll never forget one time after we had had Noah and I'm staying home, other than 3 hours a week. And I had traveled back to my hometown in Iowa and was talking to some friends there. And one of the women asked me, she said, so like you stay home every day? And I'm like, yeah, I stay home every day with my kids, with my kiddo at the time. I said, 3 hours a week at work. So what do you do every day? How many of you know? Has anybody ever asked you stay-at-home moms that? What do you do every day? Are you kidding me? I wipe butts, clean up vomit, feed these little people, teach them, take them to Bible studies, go to the library. We go out on walks. We explore. I am with them all day, every day while daddy's at work, 8 to 6, 9 to 5, whatever. I am growing little people full time. I wanted to punch her. That's what I do all day. And so I felt really judged by the full-time working moms and really judged by the stay-at-home moms. Possibly none of them were judging me and I was insecure. And you can tell that I was insecure because I wasn't really letting people know how well my business was doing. And, I would work after the kids were in bed and I would work before they get up in the morning and I would put them down for a nap because smart moms have their kids nap at the same time. Right? So yeah, when I had Easton, I'm like, oh, Easton, you are napping the same time as Noah. I'm getting you all on a schedule because if I can have both you babies sleeping for 2 to 3 hours, mama can bust butt for 2 to 3 hours in my business. And that's really all I need every day. All right. And so I literally pretend for a long time that I really didn't work that much because I didn't know where I fit in and I was very insecure about what God was calling me to do. So fast forward to, I got off a podcast call today with Brian Dixon, who I used to do, he used to coach me, and from the Dixon Agency. And we had a great podcast and you guys will get that. If you subscribe to me on iTunes, it'll just automatically be sent to you. But Brian had a quote today and he had no idea that I was already feeling all the feels from the pacifiers in my pockets. But this is not a quote he made up, but one that we talked about on my podcast. And he said, you guys ready for this? Somebody take, you women with kids, write this down. It's a humdinger, okay? Somebody type this in the comments. He said that Carl Jung said this. And I was like, oh, sucker punch, right in the stomach. Nothing has a stronger influence psychologically on our children than the unlived life of their parents. And I was like, whoa. One more time. Nothing has a stronger influence psychologically on our kids than the unlived life of their parent. And I was like, Lord, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. And the reason I thought Lord, have mercy is because the whole time when I was feeling so conflicted, like I shouldn't be working, I was employing other women, helping them make their mortgage. I was taking the pressure off of my husband, having to support us full time while I stayed home and we had 3 babies that needed to eat. Okay? So in my business, it wasn't just me doing it for me. It was blessing other people, right? And so it's so funny to me that so many of us get wrapped up into this guilt because we're not quite sure what we should be doing and we don't want shame from other people. And so we feel like, okay, should I not be working? Should I give 100% of my energy to my kids? I mean, yes, when you're with your kids, be with your kids. But the truth is that when you have a passion in you and you have a gifting and a commandment from the Lord to be using it, okay? Because you can have giftings. Remember Joanna Gaines' story was, she was gifted and the Lord told her to hold. Do you remember that? The Lord told her to hold. And then when she got to a certain state, the Lord told her to go. And then look what's happened. Okay? So if you have a passion and a gifting and God has commanded you to go, and yet you're like, you know what? I've got these little people here in the house and they need me to cut off their crust and I probably need to sit and stare at them or be right next to them as they're on the sofa on their iPad. I'm going to just sit here on my phone. No. Okay? Your kids need to see you moms passionate about something other than them. Now, I know that's going to be controversial. Look, I know you can, I'll tell you where to send the hate mail if you want, okay? But passionate women are interesting. They are alive. They have the joy of the Lord all over them, okay? They're fun to be around. They are, I think, way more attractive to their spouse. You can ask Mr. Magic to this day. He will tell you, noticed her because of her looks, but I fell in love with her because of her brains. Because I was passionate about something other than him. It's okay for you to be passionate about things other than your children. You are not taking away from them by spending nap times after dinner, putting them in childcare for 3 hours a week or 6 hours a week or whatever you feel like you're supposed to be doing. That's the key. That's the key. So that you can work on a business, on a dream, on a side hustle, whatever. You're so welcome, Megan. You're so welcome. I'm so convinced that I wish I had grasped that sooner, because I'm so convinced that there are so many women who are just sitting home crazy bored and lonely out of their gourds during the day with their kids, and they're feeling terrible about it because they're with their kids all day, every day, and they're like, gosh, I'm so grateful. I know so many women who would want to be home with their kids all day. I should be really grateful, and yet I'm slowly dying here. I can remember that feeling, you guys. I can remember when my babies were little, calling my church, and this is literally what I said. I don't know if it's hormones or moving. It could be menopause, could be moving. But I called my church and I'm like, look, I've got 2 kids under the age of 2. I'm obsessed with them. They're my everything. I love them, but I'm drowning here and I need a lifeline. And they sent me to a woman in our church. Her name's Becky, who had a Bible study. I don't know if I've ever cried on a Facebook Live. She had a Bible study every Wednesday morning. And my best friend Laura, who I met at church, I called her and I'm like, I don't want to go to a Bible study with a bunch of women I don't know. Wednesdays are your day off. Will you go with me? And Becky and Laura became some of my best friends in the whole wide world. And saved me. During that period of my life. I was telling the women in my coaching group the other day, and I get the honor of coaching almost 1,000 women every month. It's just ludicrous what God's done with my life. It's crazy. And I told them, the thing that you make and DIY and repurpose and paint, and the fact that you're decorating your house or whatever, for some of you, that's saving your life right now. And that's the absolute truth. And you should not feel guilty about that. Now I got to get a Kleenex. Hang on. And by Kleenex, I meant the blanket, the floor. So listen, for those of you young moms who are like, gosh, I feel guilty about working. I shouldn't want a side business. I shouldn't want a side hustle. I should just be focusing every single waking moment to my kids. You're not doing your kids a service by doing that. You're not doing your kids a service. Brian and I were talking. I told him that I'm convinced that if you read Titus 2 in the Bible, it talks about how you should have the older women in the church that mentor you, and you should have the younger women in the church that come right behind you and that you mentor. And I'm convinced that God would like for those of us who are passionate about making, who have a business, who have a hustle of any kind, to be doing the exact same thing. You have women who are ahead of you, and I'm ahead of the women in my coaching group. I'm mentoring them every month. And I fully expect them to be mentoring somebody right behind them. And I have mentors in my life who speak into my life and into my business on a daily basis, some of them. And I'm speaking right into the girls that are coming behind me. And so it's not just about, good Lord, you guys are making me cry. Hang on. I wish I could cry like Demi Moore. Like, remember that scene in Ghost where she's like bawling and they're making the pottery and her eyes get all crystally colored and she just looks fleshed and gorgeous? Yeah, I don't cry like that. I'm like the snotty, wipe it all over my arm kind of crier. Okay? So my point in this whole thing, when I found my kids' pacifiers in my pocket this morning, and they're going to go, the coat's going to go in the trash, by the way. As we move, I told you I don't want to take everything with us to the new season. I don't. So the coat's going in the trash. But these are going in my desk as a reminder that my first job is wife and mom, and then business, okay? But I can do both, and you can do both. I'm going to read that saying again. Nothing has a stronger influence psychologically on your children than the unlived life of a parent. You know, my mom told me one time that her pastor had preached a sermon on dead men walking, about how, you know, some people are just getting through their life, just trying to get by day after day after day, joyless. And I don't believe that that's the life that God intends you to live. I honestly don't. I don't think that he wants you there in your house all day raising your little people, and that is honorable and fantastic. But for those of you who are like, I need more, because I'm dying over here. Listen, fight for that. Fight for your side hustle. Fight for finding a group of women you can connect with. Fight for starting a business. Fight for your sanity. Okay? And so that's what I wanted to talk to you about today. That's literally it. There you go. That's it. It's okay to have passions other than just your family. They need to see you. Your kids need to see you do big, hard, and scary things. How else are they ever going to figure out how to do it in their own life? I'm so convinced of that notion. More is caught than taught. You can talk about bravery. You can talk about stepping out and trying stuff. You can talk about, you know, do the hard things. Try something new, Jimmy John. You know, go out for something you've never tried before, Sally Sue. And then if you, mama, are sitting in the house and you refuse to write that book, you refuse to, like Brian and I were talking today, put out that course. You refuse to put that first piece of painted furniture on Craigslist. You refuse to start your business Facebook page. You refuse to open up an Etsy shop. Good for you. I hate Etsy shops. If you refuse to do all that and yet you're telling your kids to be brave, go for it, do it, you've got this, you're a hypocrite. I love you enough to tell you the truth. That's where I lose 100,000 viewers. No, I'm kidding. You can't be telling your kids one thing and living different in front of them because they see it. They see it and they will do, mama, what they've seen you do. So for some of you, you just need to start. You just need to start. Honestly. So I had no intentions when I got up this morning of coming on here and doing a Facebook Live to encourage moms. But yet, after God gave me both of those little things today, I'm like, okay, that's what we're going to talk about today. No idea I'd do the ugly cry. I'm so sorry. I'm so glad, Sunset. Thank you, Jessica. You guys are amazing. For some of you, this maybe doesn't resonate with you. Maybe you don't have kids. Maybe your kids are older and gone from home. But if this could be a blessing to some young mama, will you share that on your page? Tag her. Will you send it to someone? Brandon, I'm crying too. Sorry. You're so welcome, Ashley. If I can help some other young mamas find some freedom that I didn't have because of the bars that I put in my own life. Did you know? Let me tell you guys a little story. Did you know that in other countries when elephants are being raised, they tie like a rope around the elephant's neck and they tie the elephant to a post, right? And so as the elephant gets bigger, you would think to yourself, okay, the rope's going to have to get bigger. The post in the ground's going to have to get bigger because the elephant's getting bigger, right? Okay, actually not. It eventually gets to where you can just tie a little tiny rope around a big, huge elephant's neck and put it on the post. And then it eventually gets to the point where you can tie the rope around the elephant's neck and leave the rope, the slack out, but you don't even have to tie it to a post anymore. And the thing is, the elephant could walk off, but he's put himself in his own prison. And I think often we do that as moms. We put ourselves in our own prison. Those women may not have been judging me and the fact that I was a stay-at-home working mom, okay? It could have been my own prison, my own crap that I was trying to work out, assuming that they were judging. We moms make our own prisons sometimes. And so I encourage you to, whatever that noose is around your neck, to get rid of it, to walk away from the post. Nobody's keeping you there but yourself. And that's right, Laura. I don't love Etsy because Etsy's the boss of you. I coach all the women in my coaching group to have your own website. You can do both. You can do Etsy but you have to have your own website. And there's a million reasons for that. If you're in my group, you know exactly why. So, all right, bless you guys. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate this so much. Thank you for being a safe sounding board for me And thank you for cheering us on in our moving process. You're a blessing to me. So, all right, I'm going to talk with you guys again this weekend. Bye-bye.